Hello, FlossTube. I think I'm still in a coma, so I'm going to say right now that I will not be held responsible for anything that I say amiss, because it's more than a retreat overdose, but I would say I'm in a coma. I still don't remember half of what happened, but I'm definitely in a retreat coma. So today I have 4 fully finished objects. I have 4 finished objects. I have 3 current whips, 2 questions that I've been getting asked a lot, and I told my viewer or the persons who's asked them that I would answer them on this FlossTube. And one very special acquisition along with a special weekend. Okay, I'm gonna kind of go in that order. There have been so many FlossTubers who have done the retreat in Lee's Summit, Missouri at the Drury Inn. Way better justice than I can. The first one would be Lisa Primzon Greenway. Christy, Daisy K's Primitive, did a great retreat recap. And Carol Saltbox Stitcher, Pam and Steph, Lisa Kindred Stitcher. I haven't watched all of them all the way through. I see Christine with Hollis Hands Creates has posted one, but tonight I had the house to myself, so I seized the opportunity. Well, my squire, I call him my squire, my hubby, my squire is gone. So I wanted to film while he was gone. Now, if you see that door back there open, my little Miss Kitty, Miss Clark, she's taking a nap on my bed. So we'll see if she can open that door or not. It's cracked a little bit. So if you see that door open and I don't, that's what's happening. My 4 finishes came back from Jolynn at Acorn and Threads. And I am so delighted with the outcome. The first one, I was gonna grab the patterns for these, but hopefully I can remember who they're from. The first one is just a dry goods pillow. Ooh, there's some bad light. You know what, I'm gonna pause for a minute and pull that shade down. There, that's a little bit better. The first one is just a small little pillow for my dough bowl, and you can kind of see my dough bowl back there on my kitchen island. Kind of aimed the camera a little bit higher this time. And I will be taking a few pictures and inserting them at the end of my fall decorations. I'm not completely decorated yet, but I got the most of them out. And I also have over here, I have a candle going, so I'm gonna try to bring the fall ambiance in. It was a high today of 66, so I'm so glad fall is here. The first one is a dry goods pillow, and it is by Country Rustic Primitives. If that is incorrect, I will scroll it across the bottom. Very quick and easy stitch. And then Jolynn did a, I don't know if you can see it, like a herringbone stitch or a big cross stitch across the back. Let me get that there for you. Dry goods it was a downloadable pattern, and I want to say it's Country Rustic Primitives. A Jenny Hoffman, but I could be wrong. The next one is from Wendy, Needle Art from the Heart. This was a Summer Blooms Strawberry. I got that one finished. This is my first strawberry. I think I'll try to finish one on my own in the future, but Jolynn did that. The next one is a Blackbird design finish, and I took this to the retreat, and I did show this to Alma. It is called A Flock of Birds, and it's from the book My Heart is True. And here's the start of it. Here's the back. It's a drum, and it's done on 32 count. It's like a week's dye work plaid. That's the top, and this is the over dyed black wool bottom. Flock of Birds from the Blackbird book, My Heart is True, and it was a collaboration with a Nicoletta Ferruto. Anyway, just a drum. Love it. Love it, love it. And then the last one I stitched, I want to say back in 2006, and it's a needle book. It's La-di-da alphabets. It is still available. I have seen it available, and I rescued this from, it was framed, but I had framed it back when with no glass and with a sticky board, and it was starting to come out of its frame. So I rescued it, and Jolynn turned it into a needle book for me. I sent her some Joe Morton fabric. This is just stitched on. Let me back up a minute. I get asked this question a lot. I use 18 count raw linen, like it's like a burlap, a lot. It gives everything kind of a rustic-y, very primitive appearance. That's what I used on here, and it's just 1/1. I know it was called for, so I don't remember the color numbers or anything. I don't have the pattern anymore, the chart. But she turned it in, Jolynn turned it into a beautiful needle book. There's a pair of scissors here, my Christie scissors I call them, and it's a pocket with some needles. Wool pages, needle keep, and then I keep my gauge here kind of in the back. I have a couple wooden ones that my friend Nicole has given me that I'm also going to stick in here, and the back is also just another pocket. So it's a little needle book. It ties, and I absolutely love this. She did a great job. Great job. Okay, so those were my 4 finishes. My next 4 fully finished. My next 4 finished but not fully finished. The first one is by Stacy Nash Primitives. It's 1802 Biscornu. You see that? This is ready to go to Jolynn. And here's the front and the back. Probably could go like this and you'd see it a little bit better. I really love these flowers. Really like the way those flowers turned out. Yeah, this is the top, and then this is the back. My initials and just some things that go in each corner. So that's ready to go off to her. Also a Stacy Nash Feathered Nest pin book. Ooh, that's really shiny. And I'll show you the back, because the back of this is, looks like a coverlet. Looks kind of like my settee here. And I finished that one. You can kind of see it. Here's the front. This is a 36 count. I know I stitched it, 32 count Belfast linen, because it has to fit a certain size. But that's the front, and that's the back. Sorry, I didn't iron today. was glad to get so many finishes done. The next one, I don't have the chart for it. It's over there in my unpacked to be packed, unpacked pile, because this was one I took on my retreat with me. I worked on it on the airplane. I had 2 legs to my flight, Boise to Phoenix, Phoenix to Kansas City. Then coming back, I went Kansas City to Minneapolis, Minneapolis back to Boise. And the longest leg for me was the last Minneapolis to Boise. And I got so much stitching done. And it was late at night, and I was still in a coma. Not really knowing what I'm doing, but this is Liberty House by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And this is stitched on just a 20 count oatmeal rustica, 2/1. And I absolutely love this house. It looks like weathered painted boards. All called for. The only thing I did with this is I left off, there was a little faint white doohickey, we'll call, that was above the border, and then there were 4 little white things in the alphabet, and then a white border down here, but it just did not show up no matter what I did. And I didn't want to take away from this red house. I tried a brown, a light brown. I just didn't like any of it, so I left it off. But there it is. It's ready to be framed. This will fit in an 8x10 frame. I did that on purpose. And then the last thing is from our stitching group, Remember Me, Blackbird Designs, the one I showed you that I had all the beautiful tatting for. Sorry, the lighting tonight is not that great, but we're gonna get this filmed. Remember Me, Pin Keep, Basket of Memories, Reward of Merit, Pin Cushion. And here is my finish. And if you notice this white tape up here, I took the hint from Liz and Deb, Country Stitchers, to use medical tape. I do not have a serger, and my sewing machine is up in the mountain house. So most of the time I can zigzag my edges, but when I'm not and I'm down here, I am going to take their advice. And it's nice and soft, it's pliable. It's just like what they would wrap sprained ankles and wrists and stuff with. But anyway, there is my finish. Remember Me. This was a mystery linen. It's pink, and I stitched it in blue. And I'm going to put that tatting around the outside edge. Okay, my 3 current whips. This one I also took to Missouri with me. This is Beth Twist's Schoolhouse Coverlet Drum. This one is done in blues. Oh. I'm doing mine in red. It's DMC 221. Let's go like this. And this is not ironed, but I've got my house outlined. I worked on it a lot during the retreat. It was easy, fill in. This is way bigger than I thought it was going to be. So I'm really, really, really gonna like this one. Okay, the second whip I have is Where the Bittersweet Blooms. I'm doing this on, that was a mystery linen too. I'm trying to use up all my mystery linen so I can get them out of my stash. This one is on a 32 count. It was pretty much called for. Apple Brown Biddy, I wanna say 35 count Apple Brown Biddy linen by R&R. Let me show you this first. I'm in a coma. I'm telling you, I'm still in a coma. There are no words. And our house is a little bit on the dark side, so when the sun starts going down, it really gets dark. We're in a bunch of trees. Where the Bittersweet Blooms, Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And here, got my bird and the pumpkin pretty much done. The bee down there at the bottom. Oh, there's that. And this one is in my Teresa Kogut Land of Liberty bag. Land That I Love, maybe. And the last one, I wanted to take this on the retreat, but I didn't. I had a huge fear of losing it. And although I do have a working copy, I don't know. Alma had the original there, and I'll warn you that it is out of print. I just had a huge fear of losing it, and I did not want to take it. I also thought about taking the chart for her to sign for me. And again, I had a huge fear of losing it. But this is from 2005, Birds of a Feather, Blackbird Designs. Saw this original, and there are just simply no words. And here is mine. Like I said, I know I'm really close to one edge, but I'm going to put some Blackbird fabric on the side here. Let me do this so that you can see it a little better. My flowers are filled in. That's my magnet down there from Becky. My vessel, I just love this vessel. I've got some of the birds to do, the alphabet, the bottom part to finish. And this is stitched on called for count, 30 count, but I don't know the color. I've done some research on this, and I just don't know, and I'm not starting this again. But you can see I am really close over here, but I'm going to put some Blackbird Design fabric on this before I frame it on the side there. I'm afraid of losing this chart, and I have had a couple people tell me that this is their unicorn chart, and I will explain. Yes, Christy Crosshatch Quilts gave me my unicorn chart, and I have it ready to send back to her. And since then, it has come out in a PDF from Stacy Nash. It was Cherry Hollow Farm. I do not know if this one is going to be released to the public. Alma did not say anything about that during her presentation. But I don't really want to lend out my charts. My daughter is also starting to dabble in cross stitch, and she may want to stitch this someday. It's such a classic chart that I also feel like people have been asking me, even before I was doing FlossTubes, if they could borrow that chart, or if they could buy it from me, or if I could have a contest and somehow win it when I was done stitching it. I do not know how I would even remotely make that fair, because I've had so many offers and so many people want to borrow that chart. So I apologize. There's two of theirs, that this one and Where My Heart Blooms. And Where My Heart Blooms, as I explained in my last video, is my absolute favorite. If I could only stitch one blackbird, it would be Where My Heart Blooms. And I have been so hesitant to start it. It started, but it's almost like my dream chart, and I'm just afraid to work on it. But after this one gets done, I will work on that one. So my two blackbirds will be done before Christmas this year. Okay, that was the 443 whips. I'm on to the two questions that many viewers have asked me. One of them is, since I live in a really tiny house, they wanted to know how I store my floss. And I posted a picture of this in Instagram one of the days we were moving, and this is it. This is a ring that quilters put their rulers on, and then you can hang it in your closet. There's an opening right here. I don't know if you can see that. It's not connected. But I just put my floss by maker. For example, this is all my DMC that I have not bobbinated, but have floss drop, maybe, you know, with the cardstock and then the numbers on the other side. So this is my DMC. I have one mystery here that I have no idea what it is. I have Weeks that's alphabetized, Classic Colorworks that's alphabetized, and Gentle Art that is alphabetized. And this literally hangs in my closet. Now, I'm also a long arm quilter, and many of you know that. And I took many classes from a lot of different long arm quilters, and I store my spools of long arm thread even basically in a older cabinet cover that I can shut the doors on that doesn't get any sunlight. I like my threads to be out of the sunlight. It's just the way I am. That's just my preference. I have heard stories where, oh, the sunlight damages it. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. I've run the gamut. I've gone back and forth, but I just prefer to have mine out of the light, out of the dust a little bit, and I just hang it in my closet at the very end where it's completely dark. It doesn't take up much space, but that, I know it's really ugly to look at, but when you take them off, like I'll take off the DMC. When you take off the DMC, there's a big, it's just a big ring. And then I do them obviously numerical. And it's so easy to find the color that I'm wanting. Same with the Weeks Dye Works, the Gentle Arts, Classic Colorworks. And I got this at Joann's. You can get these, they're pretty, I want to say they're put out by Dritz or, you know, one of the Notion companies. I got this part at Joann's, but that's how I store my floss. And my second question was, how do I decide between a hoop or a scroll frame? And let me show you. I do like the thicker hoops. I have here a Harwick hoop. I have ovals, I have the rectangular ones, I have the smaller, thicker ones. To me, they're just really nostalgic to hold in your hand and work with. This one, all of my hoops are wrapped. But sometimes I choose to put my stitching on a hoop. Now there's one size between these two, and it currently has my Coming to America on it. My friend Cree taught me this, that mine has the system where you can put Velcro on and then twist it and tighten it up. These really, really keep your work very, very clean and very wrinkle-free. If it fits in here to where I hold it this way and not this way, all the better. How do I decide what to put in one of these? Obviously, I like to put something that's, this size is perfect for, say, a band sampler. And I may use this for, In All Things Be Exceedingly Diligent by Needlework Press. I may load that one in here because it's not very tall width-wise, or height-wise, I guess I should say. Remember, I'm in a coma. Take it easy on me. Otherwise, a big one like this, I can still use. This is the biggest one. I got these at, not 1, 2, 3 Stitch, but I'll scroll across the bottom. Something Embroidery. But now I'm saving up to get the stand. And what stand, I don't know yet. I'm still researching stands. But I love the feel of these. I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm stitching in the 1800s, maybe 1700s when I'm using a hoop like that, or a scroll frame like this. This is my perfect ideal size. I want to say this is 12, and these are my 6-inch sides. And then the middle size of this is holding my Coming to America sampler. So I hope that answers your question. Questions, because there was 2 or 3 people over the last, I don't know, 4 or 6 months that have asked me that question. Obviously these do not fit in a project bag unless you make a special one. So I have a project bag for, like, say, all my threads and things for my Coming to America, which is the project bag that I'm going to show you here in a minute. I just ordered one from Brenda Gervais, the panel. But all that stuff currently is in a separate project bag, and then I keep this part in a pillowcase, in an old pillowcase. So I'm gonna go on to haul really quick. I have unique feelings about haul. I'm getting very selective with my stitching dollars. And while it looks like I kind of went overboard here, there's a few things here that I didn't show in my last video. And then a few things that I got on the retreat. My main LNS is Maggie's on Main in Emmett, Idaho. And I will go to her first. But sometimes I like to spread the wealth just a little bit. And I did get a few things on my trip that I'll share here with you. But I'm getting really, really selective as far as I can't stitch everything. And remember, I'm in a coma. I can't stitch everything, even though I'd like to stitch everything. I can't stitch everything. I have to come to that fact. And I am trying to really work on my whips to get my whips down. I am of the fact that yes, I would like to start a lot, but I also want to finish a lot. I want to be able to pass things on to not only my children, but my grandchildren. I have several cousins who have put their names on certain cross stitches or certain quilts that I have done. I want to be able to pass along a finished project. And to me, that's kind of where it is all at right now. Like I said, I'm also a long arm quilter, and I have a regular day job that is something that I'm trying to retire from. So I don't want to keep purchasing if I know I'm going to be retiring, and then I would have time to finish what I've already got purchased, right? So this came in the mail while I was gone. I am a subscriber. I'm just going to do it 1 year. Scattered Seed Samplers kit. I've already put that one away. But this new one that's a Stacy Nash Club, I don't know if there's any space or any spots available, but it's Stacy Nash Designs from Country Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin. And it came in some beautiful, beautiful tissue paper. Just gorgeous, handwritten, like calligraphy to tissue paper in this box. And the first one is a little bit bigger because it comes with the pedestal. Now, I think we all got different pedestals because mine is more brown and with a green patina to it. And I noticed Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, hers was whiter, maybe cream. But anyway, this is a 4-part series, and everything that you stitch will be able to fit each season on top of this pedestal. So I've never done a club like this before, so I'm excited to start this, and I'm only going to do 1 year though. I've got kits, I've got cross stitch kits, I've got quilt kits, I've got all kinds of stuff. But this is Faded Garden Pin Keep Drum and Needle Keep. Oh, it's a white house with a blue door. Whoa. Beautiful. Simply beautiful. Maggie's on Main. Just day before yesterday, I went to my stitching group. I might add, I was supposed to go to another cross stitch retreat back to back with the one from Missouri in a town in Montana called Missoula, Montana, but that retreat was canceled. So I was able to go to my stitching group at Maggie's on Main, and I had ordered I had ordered through Maggie from Expo a couple of Stacy Nash designs, and there's still a couple on order, but this is the one I did get, the Butternut House. Who does not like that cheddar house? I call it cheddar. Cheddar to me is like a Civil War term, and I got some cheddar fabric. This is more mustard, I would have to say, but you'll see some cheddar fabric here in a minute that I got at Quilter Station, who put on the retreat that I was at. I just love it. For several years, I've been in the know of a place in Minnesota. I'm pretty sure it's Minnesota. Denise and Charles McCamy, M-C-C-A-M-Y. And they make these absolutely beautiful cards. And the first ones, I'm sorry to say, are out of print. But they're a cross-stitch card. And they're blank inside, but the sentiment is on the back. And this one says, may the creations of our hands offer an example to be followed. I got the last 4. Sorry. But their business name, they have a website. It's just a regular website. And it's called Of Purpose and Spirit. O-F, I'm in a coma. O-F, Purpose and Spirit. And it's Denise McCamey, but they make, I just ordered several ones for Christmas. Look at this blue wagon that's with the snow. And this one says, the first snow falls soft and steady. A candle in a window, or a candle in a box with some pine boughs. It says, a simple blessing of peace this season. I got several different kinds here. This one has got red, like Santa stockings in front of a fire with some cranberry stuff in a Dutch oven. It says, as long as the fires burn, let it snow. But with that said, today I got a very special card from my friend Christy of Daisy K's Primitives. And she might not want me saying this, but look at this card. It's one of her pictures, and then it's got the little photo holder so you could take this out. But she made me this card. I just love it. It's one of her photographs. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, and it's a sweet, sweet sentiment of our time together in Lee Summit, Missouri at the retreat. And we got to sit together. They had tables set up school style, so everybody faced forward. And there was an aisle down one side of the room, but there was tables on one side that had 4 people, and then tables on the other side of the aisle that had 6. So there were 10 rows of 6 of us, 10 rows of 10 of us. And I'll explain a little bit more about that. This one, I don't remember where I got it, but it's Plum Street Samplers Flag Flock, because I'm into the sheep. Got a beehive. Sorry, that light. I got at Quilter Station in Lee Summit. This is cheddar. It's kind of on the orange side, but it's like a piece of fine aged cheddar cheese. I believe the term came from like the Civil War, maybe, and where I'm such a Civil War fanatic, I went to Lee Summit, Quilter Station in Lee Summit, and the first thing I was thinking on the plane is, I gotta look at their cheddars. I gotta look at their cheddars. And the store was yummy. It's just yummy. And I walked in, lot of people that I recognized there, and some recognized me, and I'm kind of an introvert. So I'm not kind of, I am. It was packed. The store was packed. And a couple of my viewers or followers have sent me personal messages saying, I wish I would have known you were going to be there. Even though I wasn't going to the retreat, I would have loved to have met you. And I would have loved that too. So for all the people I did get to meet, I'm still in a coma. For all the people I didn't get to meet, I'll blame it on my coma. There will be another time that we get to meet. But anyway, I got 2 pieces of cheddar. I got 1 piece of like a dark red, definitely Civil War. One thing I liked about that store, and I used to work at the Quilt Crossing here in Boise, and the Quilt Crossings store is organized by line. So all the Joe Mortons would be together, and all the Kim Deals would be together. Quilter Station is organized by color. So you had a row of red, you had a row of brown, you had a row of cheddar, you had a row of shirtings. If I didn't have to have a stent before or a pacemaker, when I get out of my coma, I probably will have to have one because it was, we have something here in Idaho called the Gathering Place in Rupert, and it's very similar to Quilter Station, size-wise and everything. But it's a huge treat when I get to go to another part of the country and check out quilt stores. I had one person ask me one time what my very favorite store was in the whole world. Of course, Country Sampler Spring Green is right up there for quilting stores. I also went to a very small, very quaint one back in New Hampshire called Pickering Farm that is in my memory banks. Quilter Station is up there now. There's just so many. And when you get to go to one that is not your local, it's a huge treat. So I got those from Quilter Station. She had the 1 yard or a 5 yard cut of the reprints of the Blackbird cream with black, and I got a 1 yard cut. Don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. Definitely a project bag, and I'm not sure what else. And then I got just 2 cuts of simple Zweigart. One's flax and one's like light mocha, both 36 count. I saw a ton of Fox and Rabbit there, and I had already purchased some through Christine, Hollis Hands Create, and some hog bristle that I got from her. And it was so fun because I knew she was gonna be there. And I placed my order through Hollis Hands Creates on Etsy, and I just put it in a note, hold on to it. It'd be a real treat if you got to hand deliver it to me. So I saved her the postage, and I got to meet her, and she hand delivered it to me, and it was fun to get a package like that at the Hers is next. Mainly it's just linen, and I did get one needle minder that I thought was really, really sweet. I don't know, I'll probably take a picture of this and put it at the very end, it's close up. But it's a heart-shaped, and it's a little girl working on her stitching. Let's see if I can get that. I don't know if, there we go. So sweet. Loved it. Very quaint and very fun to stitch with that. Christine's card. And then just some Dove, 36 count Weeks Dove, 35 count Weeks Dove. It's kind of on the greenish side. I think I ordered mostly 32s. 32 Smoky White. I do stitch on 32 and 36, but 32 I didn't hardly have much. 32 count Vintage Beeswax. Weeks Tin Roof, 36 count. That's a 36er. That's Tin Roof from Weeks. American Chestnut from her. It's a great basic color. And Plateau 32 count, but it's a Zweigart base. I'm just not sure of the maker. Actually, it's not over dyed. So, did I say Plateau or Platinum? Plateau. It's a grayish, real pretty. So if you line these all up, you can see the definite variations of some fabric. There's my coma kicking in. Fabric that I got from Christine. Thank you, Christine. It was fun to meet you. Overload. Country Stitches Online. I've always wanted this one. I purchased Where Hearts Rest. It's her nest. I'm trying to keep that light off. It says nest, bird's nest, here hearts rest. And I've seen this in person, not this physical one, but somebody was stitching on this at Stitch Group. Wowza is all I can say. So that's what kind of caused me to pause and order it. This is an older one, 2015. Beautiful. I got the Coming to America project bag. just happened to see that she had these in stock. So this is just the fabric panel for the Coming to America project bag. I'll be going to the mountains for a little while here in a week or two, and I'll maybe stitch that up. I went through the car wash. I don't have a truck, but I went through the car wash before I went on my retreat, many weeks before I went on my retreat. And I come out of the car wash and I get out of my truck and I realize that my front license plate is all cattywampus from the little pom-pommy things that are going around, you know, and they bent my license plate, and I thought, can't have that. So I saw that Acorn and Threads had Happiness is Doing Cross Stitching. How fun are these? So I got two, one for the front and one for the back. From Country Sampler, the same order I got, oh, it was just some thread. For special project. I saw in one of their pictures that they had this bird fabric, and I absolutely loved it. I can see project bags out of this in my very, very near future. It's got just birds of all kinds. Sparrow, missel thrush, robins, hedge sparrow, chaffinch, wren. If you're looking at it on the website, there's a picture and it's a botanicals. It's with some botanicals, and it says Botanicals by Janet Clare, C-L-A-R-E. But just some absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bird fabric. That was a good 3 weeks ago that I got that. Okay, one more thing, and then a closing thought about the retreat. 2 or 3 weeks before I went to Missouri, we had our local stitching meeting at Maggie's on Main. We meet every third Saturday of the month from 10:30 to 2:30. So if you are in the area, please come and join us. Did I say that right? Third Saturday of the month, 10:30 to 2:30. My coma is still with me. But I just saw Carol Saltbox Stitcher show a bag that Julie had gotten her for her birthday from Bella Rosa Needleworks. And I'll see if I can get that really close, and I will link her information or scroll it across the bottom here. This bag is incredibly special to me, and Jeanette is her name. She made it for me several years ago. I had a dear friend pass from an accidental overdose in, actually it wasn't in the hospital, it was her first night home from back surgery, and it was the pharmacist's fault. Really loaded up on her painkiller, and she passed in her sleep. And her husband gave me her fabric stash. And this piece right here was a piece that, it was a fat quarter that we had found together at the Gathering Place in Rupert, Idaho, our favorite quilt store here in Idaho. And I asked Jeanette if she could please make me a project bag out of that. It's just some black, it's cheddar. Again, I would call that cheddar, and it's got some little blackbirds on it. There we go. And the brown is from Kay's stash, as is the slider. But the main piece, this orange, because this is the back, the main piece, this orange, we had it was the last of the fat quarters, last fat quarter on the bolt, and I loved it, and she loved it, and I let her get it. But then when she passed, I kind of inherited it from her husband. But these project bags are incredibly well made, and Jeanette made the whole spiel for me. Oh, this one's upside down. It's got this up here, it's got the floss ring, it's got the needle minder, it's got the little thing that goes with it. incredibly made. And then this part, even down here, is a magnet, so that it will hold your needles, it will hold your accoutrement of any kind. But thank you, Jeanette, for this. She has a, I believe it's an Etsy shop. I will scroll it across the bottom here. I do like these if I'm stitching and I don't want to get rid of my nice new piece of floss that I just threaded my needle with, and I only had 4 or 5 stitches. With the Blackbird, you know, you have a lot of little ditties everywhere. And anyway, I'll put it on here to save it for when I get down to that next area. But Jeanette did an incredible job. And she said she was a little nervous cutting into this because she didn't want to wreck my special piece of fabric, but she did a great job. So she has all kinds of project bags, and they all include this little scissor pull. And again, it's Bella Rosa Designs, B-E-L-L-A, Bella Rose, B-E-L-L-A-R-O-S-E, Needleworks. And I will scroll that across the bottom here. So thank you, Jeanette. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Closing words about the retreat, and I will say goodbye for a little bit. There have been so many people that have done a great job on the retreat recap. I have to say that I was incredibly blessed to have even been there. I found out about it from a fellow member of our stitching group. I want to say it was late June, early July, maybe. And I was like, oh, I'd love to go to that. I would just love to go to that. And I sat on it for like 3 days. And my husband, my squire, could just see me stewing. And he said, Shanda, you just at least call. Just call, see if there's still room. And I said, no, I don't want to spend the money. It's probably full by now. And I went back and forth. And finally, one night he said, promise me you'll just call tomorrow. Just call, check on it. I said, okay. Well, then I kind of forgot. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I called and I told him, you know, that I was looking to attend the retreat. And I said, did they cap it at a certain number? And she said, yes, I'm sorry. It was capped at 100. And I said, okay, well, can I be put on the list for next year, or a call or email, or however you do it about these retreats? And she said, oh, no, Mrs. Lindsay, you would be number 100. It was meant to be. I think I took the rest of the day off, and I came home and just contemplated what had transpired. I was meant to go into a coma. The quilter station, Rita and her crew, the designers, everybody had such grace. The hotel staff, the meals at the hotel. Like I said, there's been a lot of people who have done a much better recap than I could. We all got these really nice totes. They're heavy canvas totes. And all of my stuff is still in here from the retreat. And Christy was sitting next to me, and I told her the story about my father-in-law. The very first designer, of course, was Liz Matthews, and she had number 1, no peeking, number 2, no peeking, and then you know, Linda from Chessie and Me, and Beth Twist, hers was all wrapped up, and they were all wrapped up so special and wonderful. And we'd come back from lunch, and the afternoon one was there. We'd hit there first thing in the morning, and they all were sitting at our tables at our spots. But I was telling Christy that my father-in-law taught me that you open these things very, very slowly, because he had a philosophy that if you opened them really, really fast, the love escaped. Where if you open them slowly, the love lingers. And needless to say, mine are still in the bags. I kind of wrapped them back up nice once I got back into my hotel room. The only project I really started was the Delicious Autumn from Blackbird Designs. I wanted to say I started that when? I started that before I went in my coma, or in my coma. Look what I could thread a needle when I was in my coma. But there's one thing I want to touch on. I haven't heard any other person touch on. And we all got these, Carol showed hers, and a couple of them showed these. They're like a little corner gauge, or it's wooden. And across the top it says Cross Stitch Extravaganza 2021. You can see that. And then there's a piece of felt, or a piece of wool actually. And there was one needle in here when we sat down. They were actually in our bags that were at our stations after we picked up our lanyard with our name badge. We were all going through our bags. And this one had one needle. And I put that needle, took it out and put it in my needle book, and so it wouldn't get lost. But now there are two needles there. During Alma's presentation, she told us that her and Barb had just ordered a case of needles, and we could have one if we wanted. There were 1,000 needles in this little teeny tiny package, and she was telling us a story about how she was amazed that this little teeny tiny package had 1,000 needles in it. And she wanted all of us to have one if we wanted it. And then she also said the same thing about there's a long needle and a short needle. Don't know if you can see it. There we go. So we all got a long needle and a short needle, and I put those right, they actually went in my needle book first. And then when I got up to my hotel room, I put them on here. And just the thought that I would be stitching with a needle that maybe Barb or Alma would have been stitching with thrills me to my fingertips. It was a great honor to be in that room with so many. I was stitching with the stars for 2 days. For 2 whole days, I got to stitch with the stars. And these needles will never be used. I will keep them always as a special remembrance of that retreat. I was incredibly blessed to have been there. It is, I truly feel like I've saved that up in the mason jars of my mind, because it was an honor and a pleasure to have been there. From this little mountain girl from Idaho to go to that retreat was quite the experience, and I can check that off my bucket list now that I've been to my very first retreat. And as Linda from Chessie and Me told me, she said, this one is exceptional. They're not always all like this, but you did get to go to your very first one is a very good, very, very, very good one. And that's the way I feel. And like I said, I will still be in my coma for quite some time. So I'm going to take a break from stitching for a week or two so I don't make any mistakes. But it was an honor and a pleasure to be stitching with all of you. And for those I didn't get to meet, there will be another time. And for those of you that came up to me, and I could see a face now and I could see a name, but sometimes I had to put that name, that face, and a handle, whether it's a FlossTube handle or an Instagram handle. I had to put all three together. It was wonderful to meet you all, and I appreciate you introducing yourself to me. I will probably be back in a couple weeks, but I probably won't have gotten any stitching done. I have no more retreats this year, and I'm not scheduled to go on any next year, although I will probably go to my one in Missoula, Montana that I'm already on the list for. But it's very, 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 very small. It's nothing like the one I just went to. But sometimes that's good too. Sometimes we need the small and the little and the big and the diverseness of all of them to learn and to grow in our stitching. But until then, happy stitching. Stitch more, start less, although now I have one more start to add to my list because I did start that Delicious Autumn, but I am getting more crossed off my list for this year. So bye-bye for now.